Hey, I'm Captain Jim Hanley. Thanks for joining me today. Hey, normally we do tips like pouring sinkers or how to choose the right hook or how to sharpen a hook, whatever it might be. Today I've got a very special guest, Captain Greg from Wicked Tuna. He was on there 5 seasons and he was the harpoon guy, or as he says, the harpoon guy. So I hope you stay and watch this. A really, really colorful guy, got some great stories. If you enjoy, speaking of enjoying content on this channel, please hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment. Greg, sir, thank you for joining me.
No problem. I need to talk to you about my faith first.
Yeah.
The summer of 22, I was really sick and I was in the hospital for quite a while. And while I was in the hospital, I prayed every day that I would be healthy enough to, when I came back to South Florida, that I could go sail sword fishing and catch a swordfish that was big enough to invite at least 50 of my friends here and hire a live band in town that my wife and I really enjoy. And the proof in the pudding is, and I built this swordfish rod while I was in and out of the hospital. I build rods for a hobby, really, and this is one that I built. And the proof in the pudding that prayers are always answered, this is the bill from that swordfish that I caught, that I had all my friends and live entertainment here at the house. So prayers do work, and I want to thank God for making my prayers come true. Thank you.
That's pretty neat. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, a friend of mine who was a art teacher on the college level painted this for me. And I don't know how good you're going to be able to see it, but there's some yellow in the 2 swordfish and in the squid. And he told me he mixed egg yolk in with the paint to get that color.
Nice.
It really means a lot. And I have a few other bills that my grandkids have signed and done, but this one is really special.
That is neat. That is super neat. So, how did you first get into fishing? You know, obviously you're a guy from Mass, because let's test them out. My boy's from Massachusetts, and I would say a whopper plopper is great because the bass hit it hard. How would you say it? See, boys from Sean.
Listen,
this is for you, brother.
A whopper popper. I don't remember the whole.
Whopper plopper. They hit him hard.
Whopper popper. They hit him hard. Parked my car in Boston. But yeah, no. I started fishing at 5 years old at a local pond for trout, and from there it's been my whole career of my way of making a living. I made orthopedic instruments. And did very well at that. But my whole career at making instruments, I wanted to be a commercial fisherman. Yeah. And I sold my company in 1998, and I went on to commercially fish. I've gone gill netting, dragging, I've gone scalloping, I've done a lot of different commercial things, and of course bluefin tuna fishing. And you know, I've caught a lot of bluefin, and that's how I ended up on Wicked Tuna. I had a real good reputation, and that's how I got on the show.
Nice.
You know, I said to them when they hired me for the show, I said, they interviewed me, and I don't swear, and I don't do drugs, and I don't drink. And I said, are you sure you want me? And they said, we like your accent, is how I got hired on the show.
Nice.
Not that the fact that I could catch fish, but they liked my accent.
See that? Whopper plopper.
Whopper plopper. So that and I don't know, that sounds perfectly normal to me.
Sure it does, absolutely. It's like Western New York. I'm from the Buffalo area, and people say you wear khaki pants. So everybody has their own accent, that's for sure. That's great. So they approached you from Wicked Tuna, which is super popular.
Right.
Matter of fact, I have a friend back home, and we have little bets going on how much the tuna's going to weigh and how much per pound they're going to give them. But you were doing the harpooning, is that correct?
Well, I actually, season 1, I was on a boat called the Christina, and in that year we were rod and reeling only. And in season 2, the same thing, it was rod and reel only. Season 3, 4, and 5, I was captain on a boat called the Christiana, and when the harpoon season ends, I was on the Bounty Hunter for a couple seasons as well. So I was on 3 boats in the 5 years that I was on the
Oh,
show.
nice.
And I had signed a 5-year contract, and that was enough. As much fun as I had doing it, 5 years was really enough for me. And in fact, they're interviewing now to do another harpoon show.
Wow.
And people asked me if I was going to re-interview, and once was enough. I've been there, done that, and the age is catching up.
Oh yeah, it does. So here's a question about the show. When they weigh the tuna and it's a price per pound and whatnot, is that pretty legit?
Well, in the early years when I tuna fished, there was buyers on the dock, not just one buyer like the show shows. There was many buyers on the dock, and you would have a live auction in the back of your boat for a fish that was laying there. And one of my favorite stories, my son and I caught a fish that dressed at 500 pounds. We got $30 a pound for the fish. It was a $15,000 fish. So I would pay my son 20%. So he got his share. And when I got home, I opened up the mailbox, and there was a tuition bill from Cornell, because he went to Cornell, for $14,280. So it was a blessing to catch the fish.
Yeah.
But I ended up with no money. The kid in the college got all the money. But the deals today, the quality of the fish aren't as good as they were back then.
Right.
And you bring a fish in now, and you really don't know for a week what you're really going to be paid for that fish. Yeah. And sometimes I've had fish get shipped over, and at the Tokyo auction, and it doesn't even sell. They cut it up and send it to all these small fish companies.
Interesting.
And it could be 2 or 3 weeks before you really know what you got for that fish.
Wow.
So, but prices, because of the overfishing of the herring in our area, the price of fish has really dramatically gone down. I mean, you get a $10 or $12 a pound fish now, and you're doing really well.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, do those guys also run charters? I mean, can you go out and fish with them?
Yeah.
Because I've heard that when you go out and you book with one of the guys who take you out fishing, that you don't get to keep that tuna. You get the tail. They get the money. But if you catch one, does that eliminate your fee for the charter?
Well, every captain does it differently.
Okay.
So on the bounty hunter, we would take people out, and they would get the enjoyment of catching the fish. And if they wanted the tail, they certainly could have it. But and once in a while, if it's a good repeat customer, Bill would give them a free charter the next time.
Oh, okay.
But no, you don't get the price. You don't get the fish proceeds, and
Right.
You pay for the charter trip.
Right. Okay.
And it's a long day. I mean, you got to be on the boat for, I would say average 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you might not be getting off that boat till 7 or 8 o'clock at night.
Sure.
So for a person that doesn't do it all the time, it would be, they're pretty tired. Most of them were sleeping.
Yeah.
and just trying to wait for the hookup.
Sure. All right, so you fished commercially, you fished as a charter captain, all that. What is your favorite fish to catch?
I have many favorites.
Well, the first one, somebody says, we're going for...
Well, everybody loves to eat swordfish. Yeah, I'd have to say today, not in the past, but today, sword fishing is definitely my passion right now.
Nice.
And because I live in the Florida Keys in the winter, so I'm going to break it up into 2 different areas. When I'm in Florida, sword fishing's my favorite. I love catching mutton snappers. You notice how I said snappers?
Yeah, snapper. Yeah, snapper.
Yellowtailing's a lot of fun. Grouper's even more fun. But I would have to say here in South Florida, sword fishing is number 1.
Nice. That's great.
And in New England, I love haddock fishing in New England. So I would, because it's not long, grueling day. But I guess harpooning in New England, when I get it, because I don't have a boat anymore, but people are always asking me to go because I have real good eyes and spotting fish on the surface. So from that point of view, when I'm on the tower and I get out for a couple of days a year, harpooning is really a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, so you're up there, you're commercial fishing the way the guys are doing on the show, and you hook up to a 500-pound tuna. In reality, how long does it take to bring one of those in?
All right, so harpooning, I don't know if any of you have watched the show, but in harpooning, when I've electrocuted the fish, he's dead immediately. And that took some of the drama away from the TV show.
Right.
So that's why harpooning never was that, that popular, because there is no drama. Once we strike a fish and there's a button up in the tower, we actually electrocute the fish. They came through the door, they were dead. It was a 5-minute process.
Right.
It took longer to get re-rigged for the next shot than it was for the first shot. Rod and reeling, the longest fish I've ever personally fought rod and reeling is 4 hours.
Wow. Okay.
I know some people now, they're using a lot lighter gear than what I would use, and it's pretty common that some people are fighting fish for 10 hours.
Wow.
And for me personally, 4 hours.
Wow. So what got you into rod building? You went from commercial fisherman, charter boat fisherman, and now you build rods, and some of your rods are really amazing.
So a few years ago, a guy in town was a A-class rod builder, and I wanted to learn how to build rods. So I went over there and I volunteered in his shop for 8 years of building rods for customers that he would just give me, keep an eye on me to make sure I did it right.
Right.
And I was just fascinated by it, and I still am. My trade and how I made a living was I owned a company that made medical instruments, and everything had to be really precise, right, and perfect. So once I sold that, I lost that from things that I did every day. So this is like building an instrument to me, right, and I take great care in it, and that's how I build rods.
Nice. The
first rod I built was for my wife, and I built it in her shop. The Fenor rep came into our shop, and he had 30 of these old Fenwick blanks. And he said that he gave us all 30 blanks if I would build him 2 rods. So we made that trade. So it was a great trade because I have 3 of those Fenwick blanks for myself, and a lot of people around town have them, and they are awesome to fish with. A lot of fun.
That's great.
But I just love to do it. It takes, on windy days here in the Keys, what do? You go around doing interviews
exactly.
to stay busy.
Yep.
I come down here in my shop and I build rods.
It's super therapeutic too. Anytime you can work with your hands. You were a guy who worked with your hands. I was a mechanic.
Yeah.
I've done everything in life, and all those years of having worked on cars and using my hands has benefited me in the long run here. So it's really, really great.
Right.
So one last thing I thought would kind of be appropriate. We're talking about we're brothers in Christ. Was every day we'll say, red sky at night, sailor's delight, red sky in the morning. Well, that actually came from the Bible. Jesus is the first one who said it in Matthew. In the book of Matthew, he talks about it that, look for the sky. You'll see the sky is red, and that means the weather and whatnot. So I thought that was really fascinating that we as fishermen use it, and he called fishermen to serve and serve alongside of him, and that's what we are. So, all right, thanks for watching, folks. Captain Greg is a super colorful, nice guy. Really enjoy it. Can you imagine sitting and listening to some of the stories he must have of being out on the ocean and going after 500, 700-pound fish? Amazing, amazing. Hey, folks, as I like to tell you, get out and enjoy all this beautiful creation because it was made just for you. Take a moment to look up and give thanks. I'm Captain Jim Hanley. See you in the next video.